Social responsibility is an ethical framework and suggests that an individual has an obligation to work and cooperate with other individuals and organizations for the benefit of society at large. So, what does it mean to be socially responsible? Well, the theory of social responsibility is built on a system of ethics in which decisions and actions must be ethically validated before proceeding. If the action or decision causes harm to society or the environment, then it would be considered socially irresponsible. Moral values that are inherent in society create a distinction between right and wrong. In this way, social fairness is believed by most to be in the right, but more frequently not, this is fairness that is absent. Every individual has a responsibility to act in a manner that's beneficial to society and not just solely to the individual. Thought leaders Peterson and Seligman define social responsibility as an orientation to help others even when there's nothing to be gained from this. In this definition, social responsibility has a more altruistic tone than citizenship or loyalty or teamwork, which are sometimes considered semantic cousins to social responsibility. Individuals with this civic virtue have a strong sense of duty, a generative spirit, and a sense of responsibility for the community. They identify with the common good, and they want to make the world a better place for future generations. When we're talking about responsibility, social responsibility with students, it mainly focuses on taking responsibility for one's own actions. It's important for young children to start learning about obligations, accountability, and consequences from a very early age. These are essential life skills that can make for a better world in the future. And teachers do play a crucial role in providing this information and modeling for their students. Teachers can aid students in becoming better and more constructive members of society. There are some simple ways in the early grades that we can instill responsibility. The first and the foremost, of course, is by setting an example. Children learn by imitating what those around them are doing, and setting an example by having a structured, clean classroom, completing your tasks in classroom work with a positive attitude and smile is very helpful. Kids naturally want to help, and seeing you do the classwork with a smile will make them want to imitate you. It also teaches them that being responsible and organized is a positive experience. At this age, we can talk to students about responsibility. It's important to be clear with our intentions and what we're trying to achieve. We want to make it clear why it's important to have structure, why we're assigning certain tasks. It makes it clear so students know what's expected from them, and it makes it easier for everyone. We can also provide students at this age with classroom tasks. Age-appropriate tasks can be assigned during the day. For example, even little toddlers can learn to pick up their toys after playtime. Older children can help with setting up the tables and desks with supplies that are needed for an activity. They can also help you file papers, sharpen pencils, pick up trash. It's teaching them what's expected of them is to clean up after your own mess. We can also help students with their tasks. Rather than getting frustrated when little ones take too long to complete a task or when they do it incorrectly, we can be patient and give them positive feedback. We can teach students how to improve for the next time, and we can step in to scaffold and help if it's needed. It's important to establish consequences as well. Consequences for successfully completing a task or for not being responsible are important. If a student fails to execute a certain task or is not following procedures, we need to let them know, and we also have to help them to be able to turn things in on time and help around the classroom. And we want to praise them for it. It's not necessary to reward them with materials things, but definitely we want to be vocal about a good job that they're doing by being responsible. Social responsibility is really the idea that our actions affect others and that we should strive to impact individuals and society positively. In today's increasingly connected world, this sentiment rings truer than ever before. We know that one post on social media can go viral, reaching millions, and make a difference in the world, a difference that can be positive or negative. So for educators and parents, it's crucial to teach kids about social responsibility that comes with becoming a global digital citizen. Student social responsibility mainly focuses on taking responsibility for their own actions. And this is important because it's a promise everyone should make for the society we are working in and living in. These kinds of responsibilities are ethically binding, and it really proposes that each person should act in a way that minimizes the adverse effect on anyone around them. There are some minor practices that we can use with older students to help in fulfilling social responsibilities. For instance, we can start with just preserving. Older students can help keep the building and the surrounding neighborhoods clean. They can pick up litter. And this is all taking them steps towards becoming a socially responsible citizen. They can also, at this age, keep a check on reducing energy and water consumption. Each time you leave the classroom, we can have students ensure that lights and fans are switched off. They can check drinking fountains and restrooms to avoid leaving any tap water running. We can also get students involved in being a volunteer, especially older students. We can ask, have you ever thought of helping others in need? Is there a cause that's close to your heart? Would you like to help an organization that supports that kind of a cause? If you get answers that are yes, then you've helped students to find a path toward becoming socially responsible. There are many projects that are launched by the government and other groups to support social awareness causes for education. Finding shelter for the homeless, looking after sick people, spending time with people who are older. Students can be a part of this, and it won't consume that much of their time. And they'll start to feel that they are becoming selfless. There's a famous quote that says, the best feeling of happiness is know that you're the reason of another person's smile. Older students can contribute as well. Students today have a plethora of stuff, and they can donate things that are no longer of use. For example, they can even collect and donate books and other items to be brought to homeless shelters. Stopping bullying is important. We know statistically that the majority of young adults who commit suicide could have been saved if help had been offered to them. So rescuing a young adult or a teenager is really possible with the right type of awareness. We need to teach our students, if they see anything unethical happening, to raise their voice against it instead of ignoring it and moving on. We can also talk about making a positive digital footprint. We can start with the whole concept of a digital footprint. Explain what it is, that on the internet and social media, things that you do remain there forever. It can be searched by colleges, employers, family members, even your future children. For this reason, it's important to create a positive digital footprint. You can have older kids Google themselves and evaluate their digital footprint so far. With kids of all ages, you can brainstorm ways to make a positive digital footprint. You can discuss non-examples, what makes a negative digital footprint, what behaviors should we avoid online. The think before you post is a great acronym. We think about think, T, is it true? H, is it helpful? I, is it inspiring? N, is it necessary? K, is it kind? If any of those questions can be answered with no, then they should be making that post. When you teach kids to think before posting, it's also important to bring in that topic of cyberbullying and the negative consequences. Explain that although it may seem to be impersonal and you're hiding behind the internet, that bullying is very real for victims, and sometimes with very tragic consequences. Kids should not only avoid cyberbullying themselves, but they should speak up when they see it happening. They should be able to tell an adult that they see inappropriate online interactions. This is a great way to practice social responsibility and make a positive difference. Let's think about socially responsible leaders. A socially responsible leader is someone who understands that his or her actions and decisions affect a wide variety of stakeholders. These leaders take a wider view of the organization's purpose and how they contribute to the environmental and social challenges of that environment. Socially responsible leaders are fair and compassionate. They're authentic and willing to be vulnerable and learn new, better ways of doing things. They're honest and their decisions are value-driven. They understand the value of building strong teams. They lead by example, and they do not tolerate violations of ethical standards. In our connected world, each individual has a greater reach than ever previously imagined, so social responsibility has become an increasingly important civic virtue. As you're setting on this journey to become future school leaders, there are important categories to consider as you deepen your understanding of socially responsible leadership. We're going to talk about those that are bullet pointed on this slide. First, self-understanding and personal integrity. Socially responsible leaders have achieved a sense of self-authorship or personal agency. This means they critically assess and actively discern how their personal gifts, talents, resources, and abilities might best contribute to the broader human community. They articulate and live with a sense of authenticity, purpose, and ethical integrity. They maintain an appreciation for the transcendent dimensions of human life, and they seek ongoing personal and spiritual development and growth. They understand their personal values within the context of deeper cultural, historical, and philosophical roots. They also take seriously the perspectives of others. Socially responsible leaders engage and listen compassionately to the alternative and diverse perspectives of people. They have particularly keen recognition and appreciation for the sacred dignity of each human person, and particularly those who are poor or marginalized. Socially responsible leaders demonstrate the ability to work in a team or a community of people and to interact and communicate effectively with diverse others in a variety of social situations. Socially responsible leaders contribute to a larger community. They articulate and actively reflect upon and live a commitment in their life and work to contribute to a community beyond themselves, whether it's local, national, or global. Their sense of purpose, mission, and vocation extends to the broader social and environmental implications of their decisions and actions. Socially responsible leaders actively participate in civic and political processes, and they demonstrate an ability to think systemically about social problems and opportunities in light of understanding a just society. In terms of knowledge and intellectual competence, socially responsible leaders have the ability to think critically. They actively seek historical and contextual knowledge that's relevant to the concrete situations they experience or are confronting. They show an ability to apply knowledge from their expertise or discipline to their particular life experiences and social situations, and they do this in fruitful ways and in dialogue with other perspectives and disciplines. And finally, they seek to integrate and synthesize knowledge from a variety of sources and perspectives. Most importantly, socially responsible leaders strive for excellence. They want to sustain long-term commitments worthy of their attention that often extend over their lifetime or career. Socially responsible leaders constantly strive for self-improvement and higher standards, and through their actions and words, they effectively inspire others to do the same. They exercise ethical decision-making and leadership by developing creative and innovative responses to both emerging and persistent human and societal questions. Socially responsible leaders are lifelong learners who pursue and work for an ever-renewed vision of the common good.